Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Friday, the 30th of August, 2024. I'm Michael Thompson. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about, so let's get cracking. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed up 0.6% today to 8,092 points, closing out another busy week of earnings. The top performing sector was industrials, with energy also doing well. Consumer discretionary fell, as did consumer staples and healthcare. Ramsay Healthcare reported net profit of around $270.6 million, just above guidance, but lower year on year. Shares fell by 6.8% after the business warned it'll take some time to get back to pre-pandemic margins and patient growth. One of the other major companies reporting earnings today was TPG Telecom. Its profits fell 40% to $29 million amid what it called sustained inflation pressures. It is now planning to cut 120 jobs in a bid to save $20 million. Investors responded positively to the cost-cutting news and shares jumped 8.3%. And just quickly, offshore, Nvidia also continued to fall, closing down 6.4%. Story number 2, discussions with tech giants have kicked off over extra funding for OpenAI, which could value the startup at above $100 billion. That's according to Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal, citing unnamed sources familiar with the matter. This would be a major fundraising round for OpenAI, which of course launched ChatGPT in 2022. Among those named as involved in the conversations to provide backing is chipmaker Nvidia, Apple and Microsoft. Nvidia is apparently looking at contributing $100 million. Microsoft is a current backer and OpenAI's biggest source of funding, with about $13 billion already tipped in since 2019. The funding round is reportedly being run by Thrive Capital, which led the last funding rounds as well. Story number 3, even Harvey Norman is in on the AI boom. Chairman Jerry Harvey is looking at AI-enabled products to drive growth this financial year as consumers start to upgrade to the new tech. This may give their shops a much-needed boost. The electronic retailer revealed its sales had fallen 2.6% to $8.86 billion over the last financial year, and it's under pressure from the cost of living crisis and higher interest rates. A fairly common story, that one. Net profit after tax fell 35% to $352.5 million. Its shares dropped 6.3% across the day today on this result. Despite all this, it has kept its final dividend payment in line with the year before at 12 cents a share. Story number 4, the New South Wales casino regulator has published a scathing review into Star Entertainment and its former CEO, Robbie Cook, on the same day that the company was due to publish earnings. The review says that Star had breached compliance rules multiple times, remains unsuitable to be associated with managing and operating a casino, and that Cook was responsible for the, quote, dysfunctional state of management. Ultimately, the casino operators' executives were found to have failed in their duty to provide the necessary level of leadership and oversight, and despite there being a number of years since the whole review process commenced, the business was still only in the early stages of turning itself around. The author of the review, Arthur Bell SC, did, however, say he was confident that new leadership could fix things. That, of course, includes current CEO Steve McCann. Star went into a trading halt on the news amid plans to write down $1.4 billion of its casino assets and start cost-cutting, saying it needed to assess any disclosure requirements for the markets. All eyes will now be on the company's delayed earnings results. And finally, story number 5, it is going to be a big auction weekend ahead with 2,333 homes scheduled to go under the hammer in capital cities. That's a 10.2% rise on last week, according to CoreLogic's official figures, and it is more than the same time last year when 2,286 were scheduled. The busiest city will be Melbourne, with auctions above the 1,000 figure for the first time since mid-June. About 930 are planned for Sydney, which is the biggest week since before Easter. Brisbane is getting a boost to 166 auctions. Adelaide is down slightly at 143. Canberra auctions pretty flat with 65. And there's a handful in Perth with none due in Tasmania. Clearance rates last week were largely in the mid to low 60s with an average around 65%. So it is a big test this weekend to see if that shifts at all. There we go. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 30th of August, 2024. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the weekend edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson. Enjoy your evening.